Welcome to the church, volume 2. Exclusive 213. Got my nephew Nate Dogg in the house. Nate Dogg, holla at him. Where you at?
Riding in my car.
CrossFit Open 2025. Everything you need to know, situated in New Zealand. A big conversation that I'm constantly having right now is the kind of the apex predator competition that we would typically have following on from the CrossFit Open / quarterfinals would then be the Torian Pro. A lot of people with the changes to the season would, or kind of immediately thought, oh, well, it's not going to be the same. There's a huge reduction in, I guess, appeal factor. Me personally, I'm of another notion for that competition specifically, especially like the route / pathway from New Zealand. Back in 2019 was a year where we had sanctionals. And the Torian Pro first moved their competition from their gym to, which is now the Pat Rafter Arena. It outgrew the size of their gym competition. That brought in international athletes. At the time, the Affiliate Cup winning team from the CrossFit Games, which trainings team, competed there. The appeal was amazing. There was so many athletes. There was a bunch of different divisions. And that kind of was the birth of the new Torian Pro. Fast forward, the season changes, goes back to semifinals, there's a quarterfinal pathway, etc. And now the appeal was, hey, there's CrossFit Games tickets here, because the sanctional season of 2019, that wasn't a sanctioned event. It was just a great competition. You know, it was really prestigious. So now you have Games tickets. So it's the pathway where you're going to see the best athletes from Oceania compete, which was in itself another amazing factor and appeal to be there. Now you have the combination and blend of both. You get to have accessibility of those international athletes. So you've got high grade athletes, and even lesser than that, because they run so many multiple divisions throughout the competition that it's going to be hard to get into any faction of division as it is. And then you also still have some CrossFit Games tickets available. So in my view, you're going to see the best world of both, I guess, aesthetics, appeal, community, athletes, exposure, atmosphere, environment, and just the way that they put on a show is phenomenal, second to none. So I think that if you're a New Zealand CrossFitter and you feel a little bit, or even an Australasian CrossFitter, and you feel a little bit deflated about the new format of the season, because that was your goal, and you don't think it's going to, like, I think a lot of people feel as though making it now won't feel as satisfactory as if I made it, years up until last year, where, I don't know, if they feel as though there was more prestige held on it. I think eliminate that fear of thought, because once it comes around, it doesn't care who is in that position. It's going to be the most prestigious competition at that point in time in fitness in Oceania. So, if you were close to the rankings and you wanted to get over the hump this year, if you just kind of started making your name for yourself, just stay on the wagon, keep grinding. It'll come, and it will be just as worthy as it was in the past. So that's like the pathway, I guess, one sighting of at least Torian Pro from New Zealand's perspective, or Oceania's perspective. The CrossFit Open itself, love it, how it goes for 3 weeks. For us here in Christchurch, we do a huge job of bringing together our gym community. We have house groups every single year. We play for a house shield, coming up to the 8th year, I believe, that we've kept the same format, same house groups. People get added to the house groups as you come into the gym, and you'll stay in the house group forever, so you represent that. Big meals every Friday night across the Open that one house will provide for every other group. T-shirts and all that jazz, point scoring system, and this is the awesome way for us to connect over fitness, and I've kind of preached to at least the gym for a long period of time now, that if when doing CrossFit, this is what it is. This is what unites us globally. When you think of a wider fitness community, this is not what we're supposed to do, but there is some sort of, at least for me, a sense of obligation to take part and rally and unite our gym into testing our fitness. As programmers of CrossFit, I would hope to think that all higher level programmers from around the world kind of periodize and structure their training around the season. And I'm assuming that that's the case. You rewind back to last year, some people that aren't involved in gyms, but they're programmers and they just have an elite level athlete system / pathway, they may just kind of look over the Open because it wasn't such a big deal at that point in time for who their target audience was, because it was going to be quarterfinals, top 10%, or last year 25%, and then semifinals. But they also had games athletes that were just going to be there. They knew it, so they were trying to train for different things at different times of the season. Obviously, when you look at the Open, it has less complexity than, say, the CrossFit Games. So you're going to want to be more aerobically fit. True strength will be there. You won't require a ton of high skill gymnastics, but you'll also need a base amount just to kind of get through certain, I would say, bottlenecks of workouts, where we've seen workouts with 5 and 10 strict handstand push-ups early on in the piece. If you don't have them, you're going to be stuck there. But yeah, you progress through the divisions naturally, or like, your open, quarterfinal, semifinal games, and they should progressively get more complex, heavier, harder. And it's not like a better test of fitness is also the hardest grueling workout you can do. I don't think that's always the case to represent that. But definitely your first stage should be more inclusive, and at least within a workout itself should be building in complexity if that's what you want to see. So at least it gives everyone a chance to have a play. Now we know that the semifinals, and it's in affiliate semifinals, and then there are some sanctional / semifinals or in-person semifinals, are chosen directly from the Open. So the Open matters more now this year than it did last year, and it gives me remnants of 2018 when we had Open, regionals, games. So there was a 3-step process. Same thing here. You now have to have a best foot forward during the Open, and the Open is in 16 days from this recording. So it's very, very close, and we need to be putting in our best score. So I could see this year, people doing 2 and 3 repeats, or a repeat plus potentially another one, when in the past, and I don't know why, it's always been this case of one and done. Oh, I don't want to retest workouts, and we kind of put this little bit of shame or embarrassment around repeat workouts as well. And the funny thing to me is, and I've done that. I've projected it, and also I've projected it off onto athletes. I won't deny it. But potentially at those times they were well above that. That wasn't our goal and focus. But especially now when it is like such a tight, small error for margin, a small margin for error rather, we need to be putting our best efforts forward into those CrossFit Open. So if you're an aspiring athlete that's looking to make an affiliate semifinals / the semifinals or further, don't overlook the first step. Nail that job first, and even start fast forward thinking, now, am I doing the right recovery, nutrition needs? Have I got my life sorted in terms of stress management and time arrangement around the Open? Do I know I'm going to be able to go into the gym at that certain time on that given day? I don't have to worry about work, walking my dog, whatever, and I can just be clear of thought to do that workout. But circling back to the thought around repeats, I don't know why we cause so much embarrassment around this about who repeats workouts, because on the same notion, it's how we get better, and if you didn't get better, then you learned and you knew what you did really well in the first outing, and for whatever reason you may not have improved. But my argument to anyone saying like, oh, you only qualified because you've done the workout multiple times, or you kind of get this red flag above your head of, yeah, although that person qualified, they just do the workouts all the time. Well, how many times do you back squat a week / month / year to get better at back squats? How many times do you run a week to get better at running? How many, if your weakness is handstand push-ups, how many extra handstand push-up sessions are you doing in a month? So why are we ridiculing the person that's repeating a workout to get a better score, or get more familiar with that workout? And I don't think that that's been talked about, at least as far as my knowledge. And I think that that's just like, if you're one of those warriors out there that wants to repeat a workout, hopefully this gives you some confidence to do so, unhinged and unapologetic, to feel a certain way that other people, I don't know, we kind of put this energy around, or negative connotation around, repeating a workout. So for the CrossFit Open, by all means, I'm a fan of you going 2-3 times, whatever it needs to take to get your best score, put your best foot forward. And that's right through the chain right now, because the addition of the Community Cup, I believe it is, and that gives you a scoring grade of percentage bracket. So wherever you finish in your workouts, you give you an overall score. And so I believe it's broken down into 10 percentiles. So 0 and 10%, 40 and 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever. And then come June, you then get another week of opportunity, which I believe my understanding is that it's similar to the quarterfinals, where you'll get a selection of workouts over a 5 to 6 day period to complete those workouts and then put them in against your demographic of ability. Now, this excites me for so many reasons. Like, one, it's cool to test yourself and then not be, I guess, too fearful that you're going to be like, oh, I've just made it into the 25th percentile of the quarterfinals, but I have to do my next test against Tier 2 me. And that's quite daunting. So why would I pay $50 when I know I'm going to get smashed? And that's unfortunately the mindset of so many people. And what this Community Cup can do is like, oh, well, like, I'm only competing against people that are kind of within my realm. And how do I fear against that? And maybe potentially the workouts back when weren't in my favor either. So there's a good potential chance that I can really jump up because I'm going to see more elaborate workout items that are potentially in my favor or suited to my style. I like the time frame between the Open being March and June, the Community Cup. As an affiliate owner, like, let's say we can put enough and pour enough energy into this Community Cup and getting our gyms fizzed up about it. That's a great retention strategy. So you as a CrossFit affiliate owner should really be driving that because you're going to be able to keep members into your gym and keep the doors open, and essentially just by having a North Star for them to train for. One thing that I probably wasn't such a fan of in the past, and I've spoken about it so many times, is not too many sports come to my mind where we consider a season, like we talk about this CrossFit season. So you jump in, you do 3 weeks in February, March, and for up until last year, 75% of people, their season is cut there, right? Done. So you had 3 weeks of a season, now you've got 49 weeks of off season. It just doesn't seem right. And even if you made it to quarterfinals, which was a substantial effort, you might have had 2-3 weeks in between that and then the quarterfinals rather, where only top 30 from there progressed, which was a very hard marker. Last year, I believe 40. So you now have a window that was about 6 weeks, so you've got 46 weeks of off season. What do you do? And there's this randomized local comps, domestic comps you might get yourself excited about, etc. But I do like the fact that there's now a kind of late February to a potential June excitement where you can continue that energy in building your gym and the kind of progression towards something that they can get their hands on and be involved with. Especially as a broader, wider community of fitness or within CrossFit. So that's just a couple of my thoughts initially on the scope of the season, especially, located in New Zealand and the pathways that we kind of have, particularly what's been exciting on our calendar year for the last wee while. Would still love to see as many people get into the CrossFit Open as possible. We know that we have had enjoyment and success within it in the past. And my only hope is that you all still continue to do so from now going forward, because I believe that it is a great test of fitness. It is a great place to put our energy into something. So if you're in New Zealand, Australia, and you're on the fence, those are kind of my outlooks on potential pathways. There are some cool projects there, and I think that there's some excitement to get around and rally in behind too.